Back again, guys. It's going to be a talking head video, legitimately, but more seriously, we are going to be doing some fun stuff with the ballistic dummies later in the gym. Still kind of figuring out what we're going to do. That's going to be coming in the future, so be looking out for that. I think it's going to be fun. It's going to get kind of nasty in the gym. It's going to be a good time. But we'll just leave him there for now. And we got Bunny as well that we're gonna do some cool stuff with. But anyways, night shifters. Oh man, where do I start? Yeah, I unfortunately have been the victim 3 times of the night shift lifestyle. I think this is probably gonna resonate with hopefully a lot of guys out there, a lot of working men. Sometimes you just gotta take the shit job, the shit shift. But you don't want to lose all the progress that you've made along the way, or that you want to continue to make. So I've got a pretty good perspective on shift work, and I've lost gains on shift work and I've made gains on shift work. And I think it took until the 3rd time of doing legit late shift, hardcore, where I finally figured out how to keep gains and make gains. So a little background. My first job that incorporated late shift, I worked on an ambulance. That was 24-hour shifts. Well, honestly, that sounds bad, but honestly, it wasn't that bad because, ultimately I was mostly working 2 24-hour shifts a week. And I was busy going to school the rest of the week. The other 4 days a week I was going to school. So, only 2 days was my schedule really jacked up. So your body can kind of recover from 2 days of bad sleep, but it still wasn't the best. But I won't really delve deep into how to navigate that schedule because most people won't have that. But the second job I had was a 12-hour night shift at a manufacturing plant. That was about 4 days. It was like a rotating schedule. It was like 3 on, 4 off, 3 on, 2 off, some bullshit, It was a hell of a schedule. I hated it. You're basically working all the time. You never felt like you had time off when you did. And it was really bad because it was, 8 p.m., 8 a.m. It was kind of like when you left, the sun was already up. It was very hard to go to sleep afterwards. And the job itself was just mind-numbing. I did it for a very short period of time. I think that was the shortest employment I ever had. I actually quit that immediately, went back to working on the ambulance because I hated the manufacturing job so much, even though it paid twice as much. But anyways, and then most recently, I think when I kind of figured out, and I will say during the manufacturing time, that was when I lost. I had a significant amount of gains then, and I lost a significant amount in like a 3, 4, 5 month period. My body went to absolute shit. I felt like shit, and it really set me back. The one I currently have, I just got off of working 6 months of late shift from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. That was when I really dialed it in. And I feel like I made gains, and I not only maintained, but I made gains. At least according to my wife. So it's a pretty good metric because they're always micro-analyzing you for everything you do. I broke it down. I broke it down for you guys because ultimately the goal is just to not be on late shift. Ultimately, that is the best plan. Is not be on. Finally, I have been able to leave late shift. I think for hopefully the last time. I think I'll never have to do it again, ever again. But you got to do what you got to do at certain parts of your life. Okay. And nothing's perfect. Nothing's ever going to be perfect. And you just got to make it work the best way you can. There's going to be five main tips on how to gain muscle in the gym, how to maintain your muscle, how not to lose it all whenever some of you have to go to that late shift, And maybe you just love late shift. Maybe you're one of those weirdos. I'm sorry. It's not that I mind it. It's just that I know it's so unhealthy. I never wanted to stay in it. All right, the first thing, this is a little under your control and a little not under your control. The main thing is the actual schedule that you're on. So let me put it this way. So if you're going to be on night shift, the thing that really killed my gains was when I just did not marry myself to it. Okay, when I did not completely dedicate myself. When I had the manufacturing job, the issue was that I hated it so much, and my life was in such a state to where when I wasn't working, I wouldn't fully adjust back to days, but I would shift my schedule in a few hours, where I'd wake up earlier or later. It would never stay the same. I was always trying to get back to that normal schedule in some way. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. On this last time around, I really saw the differences when I completely stuck with the schedule. Now the hours are a little bit better, 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. Usually I'm hitting the sack and the sun has not come up yet, which is something we'll get into in a minute, which is actually a big deal. Going to bed before the sun comes up. But I stuck with that every day of the week. When I was off, when we had vacation, anything like that, I'm sticking with it. I did not change it for any reason. I completely dedicated myself to it, and I completely switched over my circadian rhythm. My brain, about 2 or 3 months into the schedule, it was completely natural for me to be on. I was going to sleep and waking up just like I would on a regular schedule. It felt super normal. My body felt adjusted. And it was because every day I made sure I was not fucking around with it. I was very serious and intentional about getting the hours of sleep I needed, sticking with the schedule. I did not stay up late. Or stay up into the day, anything like that. And it just, yes, I would rather be healthy. Anyways, whatever. And then, okay, so the second category we're going to get into here is going to help you stick to your schedule, and we'll explain that here in a minute. Something you're going to have to get is blackout curtains. Okay, you're going to need blackout curtains, and you're going to need what do you call that?
A wife?
No, you actually don't want that. It's going to make your life way harder in every way.
A mat.
You're going to need a
sleep mask.
A sleep mask. So you're going to need to get blackout curtains and a sleep mask. And in your bedroom, it needs to be completely blacked out. On the times I'd fucked up before, I did not completely black out my room. This time around, we made it completely pitch black. I had multiple layers of blackout curtains. We duct taped the edges of the windows. We didn't let any window or hardly any light through the doors. Mm-hmm. You literally could not see your hand in front of your face. Mm-hmm. Okay, and that is the type of blackout you need on this schedule, because if you have any amount of light while you're in those first stages of sleep, if you just wake up for any split second at all and you see some rays of sunlight, I'm telling you, going back to sleep it's gonna fuck you totally up. Mm-hmm. You need to be in a completely dark room for that entire time you're sleeping. Okay, so do that by blacking out the whole room, and on top of that, I would also wear a face mask many times. Just to make sure there was no way I'd get any sunlight. And it sounds extreme, but once you do it, it's kind of easy, mm-hmm. and it's going to it literally made a world of a difference. It will keep you mentally sane. Okay, I was going like crazy on that manufacturing job, and I think it was just because that was a big one. It's like I kind of blacked out my room, but like there would still be sunlight that would get in, and I just never ever. I just always felt like my sleep was just fucked. Mm-hmm. So next, your workout routine. Okay, you need to start structuring your workouts when you're on late shift in a way that makes sense. To put it like simply, my hardest workouts, usually my leg days, are going to be on my days off when I have the most energy, because it's going to take the most out of me. On top of that, you need to be doing, I would incorporate 2-a-day workouts on the days I had off, because you're really trying to maximize, maybe everybody's night job is a little bit different. My night job was basically how it usually goes is you lose energy towards the end of the week. You've got a pile up of stress and a pile up of work and of stuff you've done. And at the end, those last 2 or 3 days of work, you're just fucking wasted. So I usually, the hard workouts I do on the days off and the first few days of work. That way I have my fullest amount of energy. Do your hardest workouts on your days off, prioritize that. I would try to incorporate 2-a-days. I would often do I'd be doing leg day and then I would throw in like shoulders at the later end of the day, or I'd do arms at the later end, or I'd do, I'd hammer calves or abs, something like that. On the schedule I had last time, it was 6 on, 3 off. So my 3 off, I'm doing my squats, my deadlifts, I'm hitting back, and then I'm throwing in some arms and shoulders on the sides for, that 2-a-day at the end of the day, to kind of squeeze in more volume, squeeze in that volume, and not have to work, and allow myself to recover a little bit while I'm working, okay? And yeah, I would say usually towards the last 2 or 3 days of work, if it's been a long week, yeah, I'm just sticking with I'm just maintaining, I'm just getting in the gym to do the gains. This is why I always am about having a home gym, because honestly, this all would not be I don't know how you're going to gain muscle, maintain muscle, and do this at without a home gym. Because I should also preface this, that all your workouts are gonna need to be done before you go to work. If you're working on the day, because you're gonna have to work out some of the days you go to work, you're gonna need to work out before you go to work, because you're not gonna have any fucking energy when you're done with work. And on top of that, it kind of bleeds into the other category I was talking about, and that is you do not want to have any sunlight before you go to bed. If you can mitigate it at all, if you can get to bed before the sun is up, your circadian rhythm is gonna be so much less fucked than before. You'll be able to stay asleep better. But damn, the days where I had to stay late at work, I didn't get home till 8, 9, 10, or 11, I was really fucked, because even though I was more tired, the sun was so bright, I've already switched over to that in my head. I don't have the fucking words for it, but your body switches over, and then it's so hard to go to sleep. So, okay, supplements, okay? You're gonna wanna shoot 100 milligrams of Tren into your ass every morning before you go to work. And then you can negate everything I just said before.
While the sun is up.
But legitimately, there are some supplements that I had to have. And if you're gonna live this unnatural lifestyle, you're gonna need to supplement some legit things to mitigate for that. And it's pretty simple. Obviously, melatonin. I'm telling you my anecdotal experience. I don't really care what you think about melatonin or any of these supplements. I'm telling you, this is what I did with my experience of being on 3 jobs with late shifts. I know what works for me. What works for me is, if I want to go to sleep and stay to sleep on a night schedule that is not natural, I need to take melatonin to switch over my circadian rhythm. As long as I would take 1.5 milligrams of slow release melatonin. That was all it would take for me. Sometimes I'd take 2. I would stay asleep. That's the biggest thing. If you wake up at any point, and I always found it so much more difficult to fall back asleep if I woke up in the middle of a late shift sleep. I don't know what it is, but if I got 3 hours of sleep and then I woke up because of a noise or something, you've got to filter out noise. If you get woken up by noise on late shift, your whole fucking sleep is screwed. So melatonin. The other you might not need, I needed it, it's L-theanine. I feel like because I choose to use coffee and caffeine late into the night, towards the end of my shift, you can choose not to do that. The job I am working, basically for me it's a requirement to be caffeinated the entire time. So that it's not really an option there. And honestly, I like to be caffeinated until I go to sleep. So I would pair the melatonin with the L-theanine, and that would really, for some reason, I'm sure there's some stuff behind this. The L-theanine really helps to knock out, if I have any caffeine in me still, it helps completely mellow me out. And the caffeine and melatonin, boom, I'm out like a light. Creatine, huge. Everyone talks about creatine. It's almost annoying how much everybody talks about creatine. Legitimately though, when I'm not taking creatine, night shift or not, my gains are worse. They're worse. My performance is worse. My mental clarity is worse. For me, creatine is like, it's not like a little 5% gainer. Like, it's like a big fucking deal to me. On late shift, it was imperative. As long as I took my fucking creatine, I got my sleep, I followed all those rules I laid out before, and I ate good food. If you eat normal food, like you're just legitimately eating like a healthy person, and you're not fucking going out on your lunch break and getting some fucking Taco Bell or whatever at night, you're preparing beforehand. If you need to get yourself a fucking wife to do this, like I did, then that's an option as well. You know, someone who can make you some legitimately healthy food. But eat well, take your supplements, black out your room, okay? Stick to your schedule. There is a world where you can make gains or at least keep what you got until you are eventually able to find yourself in a better spot where you just don't have to work late shift anymore. Because ultimately that's the goal, is the best way is just to not be on late shift. You know, no one needs to, I don't need to put up a scientific article for you to know by now that late shift is like the fucking worst thing for you long term. So don't, if you're on it, try to get off of it. But if you're on it, and you're gonna have to be on it like I was 3 times, these are some tips. These are some good tips on, you know, how to keep what you got or get big. Because that ultimately is the goal here. But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, that's it.